Vermintide's genre as a horde game means you're always going to be outnumbered at all times. This means that while you can normally stick to a certain fighting strategy and be alright, you will sometimes have to quickly change the way you fight and your goals in the moment just to stay alive. On this channel, I'm constantly talking about adapting to your current situation, and to always be ready to do something you may not be usually expected to do or be comfortable doing. And in today's video, I'll be showcasing a situation exactly like this, in which I have to adapt multiple times to the situation around me and change both my goals, mentality, and fighting style on the fly multiple times just to stay alive and bring home the victory. Versatility and adaptability are two very important qualities to have in a game like Vermintide, and the faster you get comfortable with this idea, the better. To set the scene, I am currently playing with a group of randoms in the Chaos Wastes. We're at the Citadel's final fight, and all we have left to do to win is to defeat the final waves of Beastmen and this one Minotaur. The first tragedy strikes when the Minotaur rams the Shade and downs her, sending her flying to an adjacent platform that no one except the Battle Wizard can get to. Considering how many invisible walls are in Chaos Wastes, the Battle Wizard most likely cannot teleport over there without hitting an invisible wall and killing herself. And considering how aggressive ledging is in the Chaos Wastes, the Shade has zero way to get back across without killing herself, even if the Sienna was able to get her up. Because I also know that no enemies can get over to the Shade and kill her quickly, I am now aware that this entire fight must be done with only the three of us. For the first time in the fight, I immediately adapt to my situation and change my role from a horde killer to live bait, attempting to get the Mino onto me to give the other two breathing room to fight the horde as I kite the boss around the arena and away from them. The Mino's aggro shifts constantly between me and the Slayer, and at this specific moment I see the opportunity to ledge the Mino and instantly kill it, but tragedy strikes a second time, and I am denied my ledge. Afterwards, the Mino switches off of me to the Slayer, and with no way to grab his attention quickly, I adapt a second time and go back to horde clearing to give the Slayer some room to dance around the boss. But tragedy strikes for a third time here, and we lose the Sienna, leaving just the Slayer and I. At this point, I adapt for a third time and go back to the goal of being live bait for the Minotaur. I have a shield, extra block cost reduction, extra stamina, extra health, and passive damage resistance as my build, which makes me the ideal player in the situation to keep the boss busy. Once I see the dwarf go for the banners and begin fighting the horde, I know I have the undivided attention of the boss at this point. I keep dodging backwards with the goal of kiting him around the entire arena, constantly looking behind me to make sure I don't have a horde spawn behind me and sandwich me in between them and the Mino. I also keep a medium distance between me and the Mino to prevent myself from getting flung off the edge. Not too close so he doesn't headbutt me and send me flying, but not too far either so he won't charge me and send me flying. My diligence in checking my rear pays off, as I catch a horde just as they are about to trap me. I shout to prevent this, knowing that this will cause the Mino to charge me as I will be too far away from him. I dance around the horde, killing them as I do so, and then position myself very specifically. I position myself so that half of my body is against the edge of the wall, with the other half sticking out. With this positioning, I ensure that the Minos charge does not send me flying, and since I have a shield, I will fully block the attack and take no damage. Because part of my body is sticking out, this will prevent me from getting stuck in the boss's model, and will allow me to simply move a little to the left and back to free myself. I also know there is no horde behind me to block me since I was just looking in that direction, making this play 100% safe. The dwarf begins attacking the boss, who takes a swipe at him, signaling to me that the dwarf has now taken the aggro. After hearing the banners be placed down, I adapt for the 4th time and trade rolls with a dwarf to destroy the banners as quickly as possible to prevent them from healing the boss. After this, my plan is to shout to get the boss back onto me, but my shout fails to pick up the Mino. It's at this point I realize how close to death it is, so for the 5th time this game, I adapt and go full boss DPS, attempting to finish him off with my ranged weapon, but I am interrupted by a Bestigor charge and am forced to go back on the defensive against multiple Bestigors. I choose to burst them down with my ranged, since I know the Slayer is now on borrowed time. I then decide in the moment to heal in case the Slayer goes down right then and there, and I am forced to fight solo, using my shout to defend myself against a charging Bestigor before he interrupts me.
Still bloody hurts, but at least I'm not bleeding now.
Afterwards, I go back to the Slayer and finally DPS the boss down with my ranged weapon and help him slay the few remaining enemies to secure our victory. One of the main reasons this situation ended up in a victory is because of the Slayer himself, as he did a very good job staying alive and fighting the Horde solo, which kept them off of me. However, my flexibility in the fight was also a main reason why we won in the end. With no ranged weapon or main defensive capabilities, the Slayer had really no other option than to simply keep being a melee DPS, leaving me to fill in for the roles of our other 2 downed teammates whenever it was necessary. If I had been inflexible and only stayed in a single role, that fight would have gone on for much longer, and the chance of either the Slayer or I going down would have been increased tenfold, making the other surviving person's job much harder. With the flexibility that I had, I allowed the Slayer to do his job mostly uninterrupted and let him do most of the killing, switching off of the live bait roll when necessary to aid him. I didn't get the most green circles that fight, but that is okay since teamwork and quick thinking is what carried us through to the end. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, feel free to hit that like and subscribe button for more Vermintide content in the future. See y'all next time!